To our city commission meeting tonight, and would ask if you could please just silence or turn off your cell phones during the meeting. And I'd like to also remind everyone that the meetings are available for viewing every day on Channel 2 at 6 p.m. at midnight, and also YouTube. We'll kick it off tonight with a Pledge of Allegiance followed by a silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we'll begin first tonight with our Employee Service Awards.
Mayor and Commission, I will be standing in for Lana, who is on a much-deserved vacation to this, so I'll be reading off our Employee Service Awards. In 2024, 11 employees reached a milestone in their career with the City of Leavenworth. These employees are being recognized for their faithful, dedicated, loyal, and continuous service to the city. In addition to recognizing the 10 and 25-year awards, we are also recognizing those employees who have continued loyal service to the city with 15, 20, and 30 years of service. In 1926, the League of Kansas Municipalities began the practice of recognizing city employees for faithful, continuous service. Loyal and dedicated officials and employees form the foundation of every city with strong progressive government. The pride and devotion shown by these men and women in their jobs is an important factor in making Kansas communities a better place to live. As such, the following City of Leavenworth employees are being honored at this time. For our 10-year awards, we have Sarah Brummer, Police Detective, Sean Fisher, Records Supervisor, Charles Fitzhugh III, Maintenance Supervisor at the RFCC, Laura Flynn, Police Detective 1, Patrick Fuimano, WPC Operator 2, Cody Keir, Police Detective 1, Amy Peters, IT Manager and Public Safety, Ezekiel Stevenson, Police Sergeant 1, and Glenn Young, Maintenance Mechanic. At 25 years of service, we are honoring Aaron Bartlett, the Fire Battalion Chief, Andrew Brooks, Fire Admin Battalion Chief / Fire Marshal. And we are also recognizing the following individuals for milestone achievements listed below. At 15 years of service, Pamela Klein, Accountant, Ted Glass, Police Sergeant 3, Scott Lee, Fire Captain, Heather Mowry, Police Detective 3, Reginald Williams, WPC Operator 3. At 20 years of service, Ariane Burgoon, HR Administrative Specialist, Timothy Guardado, WPC Superintendent, Lana Lanter, HR Director, Tesh St. John, Police Detective 3, and at 30 years of service, Roger Hunley, Police Sergeant 2. If you'll join me in thanking all of those employees for their many years of service to the city.
That's awesome. We do appreciate everybody's contributions and hard work every year. So thank you, Mr. Peterson. Appreciate that. Moving on to old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes from November 12th, 2024, regular meeting. If there are no questions, comments, we just need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 All right. Motion passed 5-0. And then moving on to new business for public comment. Sarah, do we have anybody?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
First up, we have Mr. Ray Hillebrand.
Okay, and as you come up to the mic, if you could just state your name and address, please, and if you could keep your comments to 2 or 3 minutes.
My name is Ray Hillebrand. I was here at the last meeting, 1345 Cheyenne Street. Okay, so I've had an issue with zoning, and what I've had an issue with zoning is over a shed I have. I understand that I had one too many buildings, but then the city called my shed a shipping container and said I can't have it. So I've been dealing back and forth, and the city manager did get with me. And I went to the website of the manufacturer of the shed. I got that website, I sent it to him, I sent a copy, and it plainly states that it's a shed. Okay, it's a galvanized shed. It's 9 by 12. Shipping containers can't be over 8 foot wide. If you do, you got to have flags and pilot cars and all that. So we know it's not a shipping container. I was hoping this was going to resolve it. It didn't. The city manager come back with, just because the manufacturer calls it a shed doesn't mean the city has to. But if you ask the city manager what parameters the city has right now to define a shed, there are none. It's just, it's just that they said it's a shed, so it's gonna stay, or a shipping container, so it's gonna stay a shipping container. I need to move it, but it's a $7,000 shed on this website. I'm not gonna walk away from $7,000. So I'm asking the city commission, and I gave a copy of, and a picture of the shed up there to Jermaine there. I'm asking, well, let me put it this way. Citizens don't have any recourse for what city employees do. But we have an election every couple of years, and we elect people, and we elect you to be the adults in the room. And so, yeah, theoretically, we can hire and fire you come election time. We don't have that recourse with a city employee that's just gonna say, hey, you know, I'm gonna call it what it is, and I'm the authority, and this is the way it goes. So I'm asking you folks now to be the adults in the room and get this thing corrected for me if you would. Otherwise, my next step is, I've already been told that I'm gonna get summons, I'm gonna have to go to court, which means I'm gonna incur legal fees. And I just do not believe that someone who just doesn't want to admit they're wrong can incur legal fees onto a citizen, you know, when in reality nothing's been done. I'll be happy to move the shed from my property to a commercial property I have. The problem is the city tells me I can't have it inside the city limits. It's a shed. Please correct this so that I don't have to incur the legal fees, because that's what's going to happen next.
Okay, sir, thank you for your
So I'm
coming tonight.
asking, okay?
Thank you, sir, I appreciate that. Mr. Peterson, we'll do a follow-up note on that, certainly. Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Alex Force.
My name is Alex Force. I think y'all guys remember me from last time. I live at 820 Osage Street. Most of y'all guys might remember me as Dirty Mike. That meeting we had last time was garbage. We have a serious problem in Leavenworth. I retired here in 2021. I bought a house here, and the open drug use in our city is out of control. Every day you see people tweaked out of their minds, screaming at cars, taking their clothes off, screaming at people, kids. People can't use their parks. You know, it's nice that we have a whole bunch of parks, but what's the point of having them? People don't feel safe going there. You know, it just seems like over the years it continues to get worse and worse and worse. And the city just does absolutely nothing about anything. We have these little meetings, we see some PowerPoints, you know, and everybody just wants to be politically correct about it and pussyfoot around. I mean, we have a serious problem. Soldiers don't want to go downtown to our local businesses because it's not safe. I mean, kids, they don't want to go to the parks. Who wants to go to a park so you can see somebody using fentanyl, getting high and just pass out on the bench? Who wants to do that? So I just ask that the city does something, because what we're doing now is absolutely nothing. Nothing's being done. Absolutely nothing's being done. We're having meetings. We're talking about spending more taxpayer money. They said an average of $35,000 was being spent a year in tax money and resources in Leavenworth for each homeless person. That's ridiculous. So anybody can just come to Leavenworth, and we have these churches and organizations that's going to give them all the food they want, all the clothes, everything they want, everything they need, right? So all they have to do is worry about stealing stuff from us. I can't leave anything out on my porch. It'll be gone the next day. I had to put cameras up, right? I had a lawnmower stolen. I thought it was safe maybe outside for one night and forgot about it. Completely gone. It was electric. Didn't even have a battery. Didn't stop them from stealing it. It's very frustrating. It's very upsetting. It's ridiculous what's going on here. And I see nobody making any decisions about anything in this city. Mr. Hillebrand, he just wants to have his shed. That's it. I mean, everybody can't come together. We got the city commissioner, we got the manager. Why can't we just come together and figure it out in a couple of minutes? A week. It doesn't take that much time at all. It's very simple. But the city can't even figure that out. So if y'all guys can't figure that out, how are we possibly gonna figure out the rising drug use in this city? The homeless people, they get free reign of anything. I've spoken to police officers in the city, active police officers right now, and they said their hands are being tied behind their backs. The city's not allowing them to do their job. They can allow taxpayers, they can arrest taxpayers like me for being in city parks, but nobody else. So all the drug users get free reign of all the city parks and they get to do whatever they want. But our police officers can't enforce that. But me, I'll go to jail every night. Every night I'll go to jail if I show up in our parks past the hours. But all these other people, nothing. That's all I have. I think my measly 3 minutes is about over. It's very upsetting what's going on in this city. And to just have these meetings and to, what are we going to do? Have you guys come up with anything? What are we going to do to tackle this problem? It's a very serious problem in our city. Very serious. It's getting worse and worse. And nothing's being done. No one's coming up with decisions except for to put more tax money out there and to give them more free stuff.
Well, I
That's all
appreciate
I
you.
have.
Yeah, thank you for your comments tonight.
Thank you.
There's no one else.
No one else? Okay.
I think Louis Klemp is here, and he might not have signed in. Give him.
Yep, come on up. Mr. Clint.
There's too many rules in the world. At 86, you know, you gotta call and sign up, do all this other interesting stuff. I'm gonna give you, before I get to talking, I'm gonna give this wonderful lady here. These are pictures. You know what that is? Put that into the camera and you'll see what it is. A young man had a wreck last night. Has to do with speed. One of the commissioners once said it's time to look into speed, and it is. Guy's going 30 miles an hour, comes to a stoplight, which is 20 miles an hour to go through. He can't stop at the red, he can't stop at the yellow, because he's going 30 miles an hour. 7 times I've almost been hit up on the 20th Street. This is getting serious. Somebody ever hits me, they're going to have to suffer the part. Because there's going to be a suffering. At 86, you won't have to suffer too much time. You need to slow them down, get rid of the rules, or enforce the rules. If you can't do that, there's going to be more people killed. A kid was killed on a motorcycle. Another one died because it could burn up. It's ungodly. I met with the county today and said, hey, the city has forced the county, I guess it is, to say that my man cave is not a man cave. It's commercial. Well, it says residential. How can that be? It says residential on the document that comes. And it says, well, service garage, paint shop, or detailing. That's what they said. It used to be. Well, it used to be Punk. You know Punk Jenkins? Oh, nobody knows Punk Jenkins. That's Clarence Jenkins.
I know him.
There you go. He owned that property. They lived there. You know what it was before that? That's right next to the Clint factory. That was the agricultural. So they're pushing me, and the tax goes up every year. I met with the county. I met with the state. Paid them $100 for the stupid phone call. They came back. They said they sent me for the next meeting. I never did receive it that I know of, but I'm sure they did their job. But it's totally amazing that somebody's not enforcing. I pay, what is it, for my man cave, which was in the year 2013, and it's been increasing every year as commercial, not residential, $461, and due to your love and detention, $337 for the water that goes into 3 Mile Creek. The man cave pays, what is it paying this year? Oh, $2,594.70. But it pays $512 for the water that comes off the roof and goes into 3 Mile Creek. Now, if you really take a statement for 3 Mile Creek, go down and take a sample of the water, and you'll find out that that was the Clemps bathroom, okay? back in the 1800s and the early 1900s. So start learning something about the history of this community. Last thing, and I'll get out of your hair, Kansas City Star put out a book. And I'm down getting your plugs, and it says, the history of this book, and it gets in names Lawrence first. Lawrence first. And then it names two other cities, and then Fort Leavenworth. Fort Leavenworth should have been first. Then it names Topeka, Fort Scott, and Leavenworth. Leavenworth should have been second. That's the way society is looking at Leavenworth. Thank you to the young man. If I thought something serious and the more mature gentleman, I don't know if he's as old as I am, but I should have given them like I do the little kids, a $2 bill for their inputs. Very great. So come on, guys, do the job. You're good people. Know the rules. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clem.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Clem.
didn't identify myself, did I? Louis Clem, 1816 Pine Ridge Drive, Leavenworth, Kansas. Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. Nobody else? We will, we'll move on to the general items. Item 3, consider transient merchant permit waiver request for military collector show at Riverfront Community Center.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, before you this evening for consideration is a request for the transient merchant permit waiver to use the Riverfront Community Center on February 7th and 8th, 2025 for a military collector's show. Mr. Brown is the applicant who has been holding the show at the Riverfront Community Center for several years after his father started it. The show typically has 40 to 50 vendors, both local and out of state, and the vendors do sell their items. The city code does prohibit transient merchant permits on city property, which would include the Riverfront Community Center. However, it does allow the city commission to grant a waiver. All fees for the use of the facility and the permits would still be applicable. The waiver would simply allow the sale to be held at the community center. So tonight, the request before you is to grant the waiver for the transient merchant permit. And with that, I will turn that over to you with any questions that you may have for me. I know Tammy Metzger, the manager of the Riverfront Community Center, is here as well, along with Mr. Brown, the applicant.
Cool deal. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Or no.
Done this annual.
Good show.
Yeah, I liked it last time I was there. So, do you guys have any comments on anything, or want to come up?
No, I support it.
No. All right, all right. Okay, well, with that then, we just need a motion.
I move granting a waiver of a transient merchant permit for the use of the community center for military collector's show on February 7 and 8, 2025.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengula.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. Cool deal. Item 4, cancellation of outstanding city checks.
Good
Bertie?
evening, Mayor and Commissioners. It's that time of year again when we cancel any outstanding checks that are over 2 years old. According to KSA 10-816A, checks that remain outstanding after a period of 2 years of issuance may be canceled by the City Commission. The city has a total of 40 checks in the amount of $4,705.30 that remain outstanding after 2 years of issuance. It is appropriate to cancel these checks after cancellation by the City Commission. If a check is presented for payment, the Finance Department would honor the obligation and issue a new check. And in fact, if a vendor or a person calls, we publish all of the checks that are outstanding in the newspaper. And if somebody comes up and they don't have the check, but they said, you know, I saw that I had an outstanding check, we will issue them a new check. The funds will revert back to the original city fund upon which they were drawn. So staff recommends that the City Commission authorize staff to cancel the 40 checks that remain outstanding in the amount of $4,705.30.
Okay, thank you.
I have questions. So I know some people on here. And so I can reach out to them and say, hey, you have a check. You just need to come in and, show the ID?
Yes.
Okay. And is this been put out on our socials at all? Or just
No, we just
required?
publish it in the paper.
Because that's what required?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my socials, if that's okay.
You do.
Is that fine? Okay,
That's fine.
thanks.
So with that, are we thinking additional time allotment on that?
We don't
It doesn't.
need to.
No, not if
If
you're
a
not.
check gets presented that's 2 years old, the bank will clear it
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's published in the paper. The only thing that's going to happen in reality is we will do a journal entry to move the money back into the funds. And then if somebody comes and says, hey, you published, one of these checks was mine, we will issue them another check.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Without any further ado.
Cool, okay, great.
Thank you for that.
Okay, no other questions then? We just need a motion.
I move for the city commission to authorize staff to cancel 40 checks that remain outstanding after 2 years of issuance, and that these balances in the amount of $4,705.30 in accordance with KSA 10-816C revert back to the city fund upon which such checks were drawn.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Ballard.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
5-0, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to resolutions. Item 5, Commonwealth Development Affordable Housing Fee Waiver Request.
Mayor and Commissioners, you recall in April of this year, the Commission approved a letter of support and 2 incentives for this project. It's an $8.7 million affordable housing project, which will provide 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments in Leavenworth. Actually had a map here just to refresh everyone's memory. This is Limit Street, this is 2nd Avenue, here's Fire Station 3, so it's this parcel right here is what we're talking about. You recall the 2 incentives were industrial revenue bonds, which means that they can purchase the materials for the project free of sales tax, and a fee waiver letter of up to $40,000. They did not score high enough in this last round to receive low-income housing tax credits from the state, and they are resubmitting for their project again in an upcoming round. For this round, they have requested $80,000 of a fee waiver. I did review that with Public Works, and we did a calculation of some of the fees. There was a concern that a waiver in the amount of $80,000 would not just impact our general revenues from review and permit fees, but it would also impact the sanitary sewer fund. So the city charges fees to extend sanitary sewer, and the fees charged to the developer are for our hard costs that we incur. So the fee waiver of $40,000, which is what staff is recommending, still provides them 5 points for their low-income housing tax credit application. I did speak with the company, and I verified that the reason for the increased amount for them is due to their number of units. You recall in the last couple months, we came back to the commission for a revised fee waiver letter for that $1 difference. It had said up to $40,000, and we were changing that to $40,000. This one has a higher number of units, so their thresholds are 5 points for $40,000 in fee waiver and 10 points for an $80,000 fee waiver. And there really isn't a increment in between. So it's not a $10,000 or $20,000 difference. It's 5 points or 10 points are their only options. So again, this is a little different from the other project. Staff is recommending approval of the updated resolution and fee waiver letter in the amount of $40,000. And I'm available with any questions you may have on that request.
Did all 3 of these projects that we sent a letter, or that the mayor approved off on, did any of them get funded?
So there was 2 from
There's
Leavenworth
2, okay.
that submitted in the last round.
And
Neither of them received the low-income housing
Okay.
tax credits due to the scoring. So they
Okay.
didn't score quite high enough.
so they're gonna try again. Okay, thank
That's
you.
the plan.
If they don't qualify this time, then what?
That would be up to the developer.
Okay.
I mean, generally, they tell me that the projects aren't financially feasible without those low-income housing tax credits to do the project. So
Okay.
it'd be a question of what are their next steps. We would work with them and follow up to see what their plans are.
Okay.
Is this the only thing they get points for?
There's several
No.
criteria for
Right.
the low-income housing tax credits.
So-
Let's say they fit into a particular plan for that area.
Sure.
If your community is considered underserved, as in you haven't received low-income housing tax credits, I believe that's in a 3-year window. There's multiple criteria.
If you're near a
Exactly.
shopping center.
So they could try to see if there's another criteria that they can raise their points on.
So these are all developers that work with affordable housing projects here in Kansas and in other
Sure.
areas. So they're generally well experienced with doing a good
Yeah.
job, making sure they meet all the criteria as they're eligible for it. I mean, at this point, they kind of assess that. They make that assessment when they're
Yeah.
putting their development project together of when they're most likely to get the credits, what their project needs to be, because this is not just receiving the low-income housing tax credits. They need to have a project that's sustainable and can run as affordable housing going forward.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I have no other questions either at this time. So, okay, with that, we just need a motion.
Let's see, so I figure out what I move, support of Resolution B 2387, resolution of support for the Commonwealth Development Affordable Housing Fee Waiver request.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengela.
Aye?
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0. Moving on to B, which is the approval of the fee waiver letter. Pretty straightforward there.
So move.
All right. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Boundary.
Aye.
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 Aye?
All right, 5-0. Thank you. All right, first consideration of ordinances, item 6, for special use permit to allow accessory dwelling at unit 303 North Esplanade.
Filling in for, excuse me, the recently departed Julie Hurley here as well. We have the applicants, Christopher and Danielle, Leroux. Apologize if I messed that name up. Requesting a special use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit on their property located at 303 North Esplanade, located in the North Esplanade Historic District. The current property is an existing single-family home and detached accessory building that contains a 2-car garage and an existing dwelling unit. This building, the accessory building, was constructed in 2004 and was given a major certificate of appropriateness. The accessory building has contained a dwelling unit since the time of its construction, and at the time of construction, ADUs were not specifically addressed by the development regulations. The existing ADU is considered a non-conforming use as there is no existing special use permit. Per our development regulations, any lawfully existing non-conforming use of part or all of a structure or any lawfully existing non-conforming use of land not involving a structure or only involving a structure which is accessory to such use or land may be continued so long as otherwise lawful. I'm going to skip some of this, but the commission met with the applicants at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. They did make the determination that the proposed special use complies with all applicable provisions of the ordinance. The proposed special use at the specified location will contribute to and promote the economic development, welfare, or convenience of the public. The special use will not cause substantial injury to the value of other property in the neighborhood in which it is located, and that the location and size of the special use, the nature and intensity of the operation involved in or conducted in connection with it, and the location of the site with respect to streets giving access to it are such that the special use will not dominate the immediate neighborhood so as to prevent development and use of neighboring property in accordance with the applicable zoning district regulations. So in layman terms, Commission, this accessory dwelling unit was constructed prior to us having a requirement that it be a special use permit. It has been used by a particular long-term tenant for quite some time who has not caused any issues, and it appears to be a model tenant. The owners are trying to do right by that tenant by providing them a specific mailing address as well as an address that emergency services can go directly to in case there's an emergency. The Planning Commission voted unanimously and staff agrees that there is no violation to the zoning ordinance here. And as such, Planning Commission recommends that the special use permit be approved and staff recommends approval as well.
Okay, thank you.
So this is a historic building with a historic, I know there's several places here in town, especially on Broadway, that have carriage houses back behind them that have been converted to apartments and that, and there's some right down the street here from this house, and so I don't see any problem with going ahead and keeping it.
And in this
Making it-
particular case, the carriage house itself is not an existing, or was not an original structure. It was constructed in 2004 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, okay.
But it does
That's
match
new.
the primary
Yeah.
dwelling, so
Yeah,
it was done well.
okay.
Good deal. Any other questions?
Sir?
I have no problem putting it on first, putting it on first consideration.
Okay, so we all agree?
Yes, first consideration, yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. Okay, from here, moving on to our consent agenda.
I move that we approve claims from November 8th, 2024 through November 21st, 2024, in the amount of $914,488.44. Net amount for payroll number 23, effective November 15th, 2024, in the amount of $411,540.29, includes police and fire pension in the amount of $7,491.38.
Second.
All right, motion been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0. Okay, that actually concludes our items for tonight. Mr. Peterson, you have any comments to make?
Everyone enjoy your Thanksgiving. I won't be sending out a weekend update due to the short week, but hope everybody has a nice relaxing holiday.
Great, thank you. Mr. Angela.
Thank you all for being here, and I wish everybody a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy with family and friends.
I had received complaints, I don't know, my days are blending, last week about the panhandler on Limit and Hughes. I just want to thank city staff for taking care of that. The area is now cleaned up, it looks good, there's no more liquor bottles and trash, so thank you to city staff for getting that handled and for taking care of that particular person. And then I just absolutely want to have everyone have a great, happy Thanksgiving and eat lots of turkey or mashed potatoes, whatever you choose.
All right, thanks.
And to thank everybody for coming out for the mayor's tree lighting. It was a great event as usual, and it was fun to see the cars and
And thank you,
trucks
Tammy.
all blinged up and
good
thank
job.
Tammy for putting that on. I know it's a lot of work, but anyway, thanks everybody for coming out and enjoying that evening.
I want to give a shout out to our CEO of the Guidance Center, Stevie Durkin. Yeah, thank you for attending our meeting this evening. I just want to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. Let us remember to be thankful and grateful for the things that we have. And there's many people who don't have anything. Let us remember to be a blessing and just always remember to serve and make a difference in our community. God bless you all and happy holidays.
And thank you all also for coming out to the Christmas tree lighting the other night. It was great to see everybody out there, and definitely wish you and your family, friends, and neighbors a really happy Thanksgiving. And with that, just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.